Hello, my lovelies. It's your girl Rhea from the future, realizing I never actually filmed the intro to this episode. So we're going to test out this new one that I got workshopped, and we're going to see how we feel about it together. So again, hello, my lovelies. It's your girl Rhea, and welcome back to my second channel. On my petty bench, I read and react to Reddit stories like Am I the Asshole, Nightmare Neighbors, Just No Stories, and we maybe get a little bit petty. Am I the asshole for demanding to check my brother's girlfriend's bags before they leave my house? A bit of background here. I, 39 female, have a brother, 32 male, who I'll call Chase. Chase has been with this girl, 35 female, that I'll call Vivian for almost 2 years now. About a month into their relationship, Vivian got pregnant with my nephew, who is now almost a year old. Vivian also has 2 daughters, 5 female and 8 female, from a previous relationship. Her daughters are very close in age to my daughter, 7 female, and up until last week, everyone got along fine. They live in a different state than us, but come to visit fairly often and stay with us because we have the extra room. Last weekend, they came to stay again, and about an hour before they left, my daughter noticed that a few of her favorite toys were missing. The girls were playing all weekend, so I didn't think much of it and offered to help her look for them. After about 20 minutes of searching, we could not find the toys anywhere, so I asked Vivian's girls if they remembered where they were playing with them last. The girls said no, but acted a little guilty about it. I asked Chase and Vivian about it, and Chase said that he saw the exact toys in the room that Vivian's girls were sleeping in. We went to check and they were not there. I saw Vivian's girls huddled close together over a backpack and quickly closed it when they saw that we were there. Chase asked the girls again if they knew where the toys were, and this time they didn't say anything and just looked at their mom. Chase reached for the bag and Vivian lost it. She started yelling at me, how dare I accuse her daughters of stealing, and she tried to snatch the bag away. Chase opened it and there were the missing toys, plus a few more. I was absolutely furious. I told her I wanted to see what else she had and demanded that she open the 2 suitcases. She said that was an invasion of her privacy and tried to take them away and leave. Chase stopped her and made her open them. She had taken several tops, a few skirts and dresses, and a brand new pair of Nikes that belonged to my daughter. I took everything back and told her she and her girls were not allowed back in my home. I have since received several texts from her and a few unknown numbers telling me I embarrassed her and upset her girls because they were promised the items. Chase is upset with her, but said I was too mean to her in front of everyone, and that I could have handled the situation more privately. I do feel awful that her girls left crying, but am I the asshole for how I handled the situation? No. I'm sorry, no. Those are your kids, and your responsibility is to protecting your children. That is your kids' stuff. That is stuff that you bought and paid for. That is theft. If the girls are upset, that's too friggin' bad because they need to suffer the consequences for stealing. They're old enough. Like, what were the ages again? 5 and 8. The 8-year-old, at least, is old enough to know that what's not hers is not hers to go home with. They should know better at least by 8 years old. 5 years old, I'm not a parent. I don't know, but I would think that they would know not to steal other people's stuff, but you bought them for your kids. Your kids are growing like weeds already, so you probably just bought those darn shoes at the very least. No, it is, you are not the asshole for giving your brother's girlfriend the boot. You're not the asshole for essentially dealing with the theft situation in front of the kids, because they needed to learn the lesson too. Even if you couldn't discipline the children, you could discipline their mother, and that discipline was kicking them out of your house. Do not, never, parents, this is a PSA from me to you. Never let anyone do harm onto your children and be passive about it, especially in situations like this. They stole your crap. Absolutely not. Nah, you are not the asshole. Never let this woman into your home. And don't be browbeaten into forgiving this woman outright and letting her back into your home again. If they want to come visit wherever it is that you're located, they can get a hotel. Edit to add, answers to a few questions I keep getting. I'm not sure who promised the girls these items. She would not elaborate, but I'm assuming it was her. She wanted me to pull her aside into a different room away from Chase and the kids to talk the situation out. Also, yes, I'm 99% sure that the baby is his. He is almost a carbon copy of my brother when he was a baby. I do not believe the girls knew they were stealing the things. I really believe that their mom told them that I said it was okay. We have never had problems with the girls before this. They really seem to be good kids. Also, I will be talking with my brother tonight or tomorrow to discuss this further. Okay, maybe the girls aren't completely involved in that. Okay, I take that back. But this is a lesson learned. The kids know, don't steal. Hooray. Alright, so let's see how everybody else feels about it. I'm all about scorched earth when it comes to protecting kids, but maybe others may have a more nuanced take on this. Sparkling Wine 23 says, not the asshole. I may not have thought to open the suitcases. I would have thought the girls just stole the toys, but the clothes makes it seem like it was Vivian's act, especially if the girls were promised them. Who else would promise them? Your brother, his wife, and children, stepchildren shouldn't be invited back. Anyone saying anything to you can host them themselves or shut the fuck up. To this, Kayla Harper, 90, responds, I normally wouldn't have thought to check either, but the way she grabbed them and tried to leave set off all the warning bells in my head. To which Sparkling Wine responds to this, and who was there to be embarrassed in front of? It sounds like it was just your two families. If you don't want to be called out as a thief, don't steal. Fardare6458 says, not the asshole, but I would like to add that the timing of her quick pregnancy is suspect. With her behavior of stealing your daughter's things and acting entitled to taking them, it feels like she hooked up with your brother for financial reasons. Your brother may consider requesting a paternity test when he decides to end the relationship. To which Kayla Harper says, my family thought the same thing. The baby does look exactly like my brother, so I do believe it's his. But you are probably onto something with the baby trapping. We knew her as a casual fling until she ended up pregnant. Raven Shield responds to that. I'm wondering how casual she was with her birth control and probably sought to trap your brother on purpose. Also not the asshole. Had that been me, I would have already gone scorched earth with the entire family over this. Which is why you wrap it before you tap it, okay? Like, I know so far most people probably think I'm a misandrist, but some women are wildin', okay? And they have been brought up from the cradle that they need to be reliant on a man to take care of them. And babies are a token to get that man to take care of them. Wrap it before you tap it, gentlemen. Trust me on this. Some ladies are crazy, and there is a correlation between good punani and crazy, okay? The better the punani, the more crazy she is. Be careful. I'm probably going to get, in trouble for that one, but I said what I said. AJ Danko says, not the asshole, but throwing out there that the daughters may have been in an unwinnable situation. Mom promised the toys, mom hid the items, girls knew it, but were afraid to tell on mom. Could have even been what they were secretly talking about, so they were stuck making someone mad at them either way. Suggesting that if OP does ever let them back in, that they invest in a nanny cam for sure and review it before they leave. OP responds, I do feel for the girls, I really do. They aren't the best behaved, but I really don't think they were the ones behind this. We plan on getting cameras for inside our home, and after some time we may allow them back, but not mom. I'm really allowing my daughter to make that call since it was her things that were almost taken. Deb Scream responds to, I'm really allowing my daughter to make that call. The response is, don't do that, not because it isn't useful to teach your daughter personal agency, but because she is a child and especially susceptible to the guilting and manipulation your thieving sister-in-law will no doubt subject her to directly or indirectly. Teach her that what sister-in-law did was very wrong, and that it's okay to feel negatively about her, and to be wary of them in the future. Don't make her feel like she has to say yes to not seem like the bad guy. Mental Cycle 3111 also says to this, your daughter is too young to make a sound decision about the situation. She would likely want them back because they were her very best friends ever. Adults know that you must cut off toxic people so that their drama won't affect your life. Be a parent and protect your family. If you must interact with her and her kids, have a picnic in the park, take a trip to the mall, zoo, aquarium, any place except your home. Your brother will just have to accept that these are the consequences of Vivian's actions. Breaking news. So, this is Maria from the future. And apparently, there are updates. There are updates that just popped into my life as I was editing this. And, so there is a full saga that has to do with the Legend of KAS, KAS. So, we're going to, push the other story to the next episode, which is today's episode, or today me, but you know what I mean. But the saga. Don't judge me. I am a petty bench, and I enjoy petty drama when I am not involved. So, first we're going to start with the updates that were posted. Now, both the account and the original post were deleted, but Best of Reddit Updates has compiled both the original story and the Legend of KAS into one location. Just so you know, these stories come with a few trigger warnings. They contain multiple false essay accusations, arson, parental kidnapping, and brief mentions of death of a parent. I will not take it personally if you skip this video. Please take care of your mental well-being, as it's more important to me than subscribers or views. I love you guys. You are my lovelies. I won't take it personally if you skip on this one. Edit 2. I will be speaking with my brother in about an hour. I have been in contact with someone that knows her, and a lot has come to light. I will update again if my brother says I can, as it's his life and not mine. Vivian is not at all who she claims to be. Update March 1st. Thank you all so much for the responses. I'm sorry I haven't been able to get to everyone's comments, as I really don't think this would take off. I talked with my brother last night and showed him a lot of your comments and suggestions, and thanks to someone in the comments, we now know a lot more about Vivian and the kind of person she really is. I will not be able to tell you all of everything, but I can tell you that my brother and nephew are now staying with us while he gets a DNA test and proceeds to cut ties with her. I may have more to give you all in the coming days or weeks, depending on what the paternity test says. Again, thank you all so much. The plot thickens. We're going to get into the Legend of KAS. We may need to create characters for this. Oh, I'm excited. I know I'm going to hell. Don't judge me. Don't you judge me either, Seymour. First OP, who has since deleted their account, replied to other commenters, but then deleted their account after the exchange above the edits updates on their post. The compilation reads, "This story sounds very familiar, but not for the reason others are saying. Do the initials KAS apply to this post at all?" Original OP asks, "Please message me." Another Redditor replied to this with, "Look, I don't know if KAS and OP know each other, and damn, do I want to, but if not, I think we need the story of KAS anyway." And then Mysterious Cal 3423, who is OP2, says, "Unfortunately, it's her." Since that point, the first OP has deleted their post. So, Mysterious Cow 3423 says, who is the second OP, "The Legend of KAS. Well, this has certainly blown up, but who am I to deny the people of what they want? KAS lore." For obvious reasons, I'm going to be a little vague with certain details for privacy reasons. Mainly, I don't want this crazy train coming back into my life, and hopefully you'll understand why by the end. So buckle up, bitches. This one is long and wild. My kind of story. Also, I will say that she is a very pretty girl and has usually gotten whatever she wants from men, so she's not used to hearing no. Sometimes pretty is a privilege. Sometimes. Next I'm going to rethink the body glitter. 2005. When I was 18, my then boyfriend, now husband, congrats, and I were invited to a house party hosted by a friend of a friend to celebrate graduation. We knew about half the people there and had been to the house a handful of times. We were all hanging out in the basement, and after a few drinks, I went upstairs to use the bathroom, and that's where I met KAS, who was 14 at the time. The bathroom door was open, so I walked in and turned on the light, but to my surprise, there she was with some guy in the bathtub, doing things you typically wouldn't do in an unlocked room. At 14. I apologized and found a different bathroom. About an hour later, she came downstairs where the rest of us were and locked in on my boyfriend and made a beeline for him. Keep in mind, I'm right next to him. She tries to sit on his lap, and when he pushes her off of him, she pops back up like a demented jack-in-the-box and immediately starts screeching about how she was just playing, "You aren't even hot," and "You could do so much better than her," to him. We stayed another hour or so and left. A week later, she was blowing up the guy's phone that she hooked up with, telling him she was pregnant. When he didn't believe her, because who would after just a week, she tried to press charges for rape. I do know my boyfriend and I both had to talk to a police officer because we were both there, and I was the one that walked in on them. I don't know what happened after, but the charges were eventually dropped. 2009. My husband and I are 22, and she is 18. We are now married and living on the East Coast because he's in the military. We come home for his parents' 4th of July party and get tasked with going to get more ice. He runs in to pay, and I'm standing by the ice chest outside waiting for him. And guess who shows up? She walks straight up to me and says something along the lines of she's glad I finally learned my place and that her and my husband have been so happy together for the last year. She also made some very vulgar comments about their sex life. I don't even have time to react to her when he comes back outside and she goes pale and then bright red. This crazy bitch then has the audacity to look at my husband and ask what he wants for dinner that night and try to remind him of plans they have that weekend to go to the lake with her family, while he just stands there staring at her like a dumbass and then asks if he knows her. I absolutely lose it and almost piss myself from laughing as she stalks off. I would too. I'm not even gonna lie. I would bust out laughing. Once we are back to his parents, he gets a Facebook friend request from her and deletes it. Over the period of 3 days, she sends him 4 or 5 friend requests, so he blocks her. We go back to North Carolina the following week and forget all about her again. 2010. I am now 7 months pregnant with our daughter, and we fly back to our hometown one last time before she's born. Of course, we run into KAS again at Walmart. I know how it sounds, but we're from a town of about 5,000 people, so you kind of see everyone all the time, whether you want to or not. I'm noticeably pregnant as I'm about 7 months along. I'm also only 5'2", someone shorter than me. Yay! I'm also only 5'2", and at the time weighed about 115 pounds, so it was very clearly a baby bump. She is with her sister, and they seem to be following us, but we try to ignore them. We are now checking out, and again, they are right behind us, still acting like children. But in her defense, she was like 19-ish at the time. We are still going to ignore them, and her sister says fairly loudly, he'll dump her now that she's fat. Fight me. We continue to ignore them and leave the store. Later that day, a friend tells us to check Facebook, and lo and behold, there is a picture of me in the snack aisle with the caption, "When you catch your surrogate buying nothing but junk food," and so many comments agreeing how horrible I am. This psycho had been telling everyone I was the surrogate for her and my husband's baby. We filed a restraining order the next day. 2018. We moved back to our hometown and buy my family's farmland to start our own cattle business. Highly don't recommend if you like to be able to make and keep plans, see your family, or take vacations. As far as we know, she has gotten married and is living her life away from us. About 6 months into us getting back, we get a letter in the mail from a family lawyer saying my husband needs to present himself for a paternity test and we were being sued for child support. Apparently, the baby girl came out white and KAS's husband was not. She told her husband that my husband had raped her and that it was his baby. I have words for this girl. I have so many words for this girl. After, yes, YouTube frowns on violence, but I have words for this girl. Charges were filed, and thankfully we were still in North Carolina at the time of the conception, and the Army is very meticulous about knowing where their soldiers are at all times. The rape charges were immediately dismissed, as was the paternity test and child support. We filed another restraining order and installed cameras all over our property. Her husband ended up adopting the baby, and they stayed together. That's actually impressive. 2020. She makes the front page of our town paper. Apparently, KAS had another baby girl who also did not match her husband's skin tone. He kicked her and the kids out, and one of them is legally his. He adopted. Not the point, but he adopted. Anyhow, let's do that again. Apparently, KAS had another baby girl who also did not match her husband's skin tone. He kicked her and the kids out, and one night she came back to his house in full view of his security cameras in her car with the kids and set his porch on fire. Oh! Okay! Moving on! The husband got temporary custody of the girls for about 2 years while KAS was in jail. 2023. She gets the girls and dips out of state. The husband files a police report and everyone is looking for her. Unfortunately, the husband passes in a car accident the same year. Oh, I'm so sorry for those little girls. 2025. I'm doom scrolling on Reddit and see a story that sounds very familiar, and here we are. Reasons I thought this was her from the other post. Her and the girls' ages, We knew she had a baby boy recently. She has a history of theft and immediately playing the victim when caught. We still have a few mutuals on Facebook, so I do see her post from time to time and knew she moved in with a new guy, OP's brother from the other post, about a year and a half ago. Well, I think that's the meat and potatoes of it. I'll be around later this afternoon to answer any questions. I may have some of the dates off, but hell, my memory is trash these days and I try not to think about her or any of those crazies. Alright, comment from Mysterious Cow 3425, which explains why the other OPs deleted their account. Yes, unfortunately, Psycho Sally found that one and this one. The original account has since been deleted, unfortunately. Editor's note, at this point, Mysterious Cow 3423 found the Best of Reddit updates post and commented on there to provide some additional context. The most notable comment they left on Best of Reddit post: "Hey everyone, thank you all for the love and support, but she has found the accounts and has now posted a picture of my husband on her account. I reported it, but it's still there. If anyone can help me get it removed, I would be forever thankful to all of you." Update 2. 3 days later. Hey all, this is probably going to be the last KAS update for a while. It's been a rough 48 hours between some issues we're having on the farm due to 4 days of straight rain and KAS finding the post about her. I'll try to be brief, but give you guys an update as to what's going on. I have been in contact with the OP from the first post and have permission to include a couple updates from her situation as well. KAS has been arrested, the girls are safe with OP's brother, and they are all back at his house. She found the post and went feral with comments, even a post which includes a picture of my husband she took from my Facebook that I have since deactivated. We called our local sheriff's department about the harassment and learned she had an active warrant. I was able to get in touch with OP to find out exactly where she was, and they contacted the law enforcement agency in the area and they went and got her. We have pressed charges as well. Right now, she's looking at stalking, harassment, child endangerment, resisting arrest, and assault on an officer among the charges she's already had pending. I knew what might happen if I responded to OP's post, but I did not regret reaching out to her or exposing her antics. What matters is everyone is safe and she is being held without bond. Update from first OP. The girls are safe with my brother and he has all 3 children. He has been awarded temporary guardianship and will be getting them into counseling in the coming week. I tried to press charges, but as the items never left my home, I was unable to. We will have the results of the paternity test next week as well, but no matter the outcome, he will try to get full custody of my nephew. KAS update number 3, 3 days later. I'm going to hell for enjoying this. I am sorry. Mostly. I am sorry. My heart goes out to both of these individuals, and I know in the thick of it, it is a terrifying thing, and sometimes you can really only react to these situations with humor, because if you don't laugh, you're going to cry, to quote Xie Lian in the Heaven Official's Blessings. Read the series. It's really, really great. In fact, read all MXTX stories. So, on to the update. Good morning, all. I have a couple updates for you, but first we need to discuss some things. I appreciate all the love we are getting from this, but some of you need to check yourselves. I will not be posting pictures of her. I will not be linking articles. I will not be posting mugshots. I will not be posting her court records. While yes, all of this is public record and can be found online, it will also expose our names, address, and personal information. If you ask, you will be blocked. If I have to block enough people, I will delete this account and then no one will get updates. Sorry to be an ass, but this is our lives, our home, and I have to put us and our children's safety first. Yes, keep it all fake names and that is all we need. We do not need, we do not need your actual personal details. I have also received a few questions on why we move back with all of this going on every time we come home. This farm has been in my family for over 120 years and I will not be giving this up over her. Yes. Love to hear it. We do not let the terrorists win. Now on to the updates. KAS is still in jail and will be held there until her court update in the coming months, after which she will be transferred back to where she was arrested to face charges there that include child endangerment, resisting arrest, and assault on an officer. We have security cameras that run 24/7 on all structures, barns, houses, sheds, garages, and everything, out here both inside and out. And well, yes, part of the reason we have them installed was because of her, but the main reason is we own a working cattle farm. Farm accidents happen all the time, and our insurance is a lot less if we have them. So no, we're not being paranoid like a few have hinted at.
I mentioned in a comment that her brother owns a trucking company that we work closely with, so I was able to fill him in on everything going. He is talking to OP1's brother to take in the girls, and they have a family court hearing on Friday and will hopefully be living with their uncle soon. He is a really good guy, and his wife is amazing. If they were anything like KAS, they would not be working for us, and I believe they are the girls' best option for a normal upbringing. Now, on to the baby boy. Chase is the father. He already has a lawyer, and given the circumstances, should be able to get full custody and rights to him going forward. I will update again after the hearing on Friday, as we will be going with him to help him get the girls. As far as I know, KAS has not reached out to check on them since being arrested. Oh, and no, her late husband's accident was not her doing. Is it wrong that I thought for a minute that it was? I'm sorry, it was very suspicious, and a woman willing to set a porch on fire is also willing to cut brake lines. He was driving home one night after being at the bar and went off the road. He was found the next day, and there were no signs of foul play. It was determined the most likely cause was he was intoxicated and an animal ran out in front of him, and he swerved to miss but hit a tree. Do not drink and drive. Please. I will always advocate that even if I don't like you, even if we're not friends, they can still call me if they are drunk, and my tired ass will get out of bed. I will be grumpy. I'm not going to lie. I will be very grumpy. But my tired ass will get out of bed and drive to pick you up. Original Doge Star says, you ever just want a simple post, but instead somehow gestures in a scrambled way? All this happens and you still want more? I'm going to hell because yes. Because yes. Similar Shame 7517, who added this to the Best of Reddit updates, says, and people were bugging me to edit the first Best of Reddit update when second OP updated. And then, to which Original Doge responds, honestly, I hear about this type of thing in my job from my clients and colleagues, but it still amazes me that this actually can and does happen. Valley Oak Paper says, I really feel bad for her kids. Growing up with a mother with such obvious psychiatric issues must be hell. The daughters don't know who their fathers are. Mom has been in prison, and then stepdad number 1 kicked them out when second daughter was born. Stepdad number 1 is now dead. Now they're with stepdad number 2, while mom is in jail again, and they've gained a baby half-brother. These kids desperately need stability and consistency. Yes, so for all of my giggling and cackling and enjoying the drama, I do feel bad for those little girls. I genuinely feel bad for those little girls because they don't deserve this. I can only imagine what that trauma will embed into the psyches of these little girls. Because I'll always say hurt people, and these little girls are well on the way to be extremely hurt. And it's heartbreaking because no child deserves that. And yes, I did write on the kids thinking that they were very much their mother's daughters, but they weren't. They're just victims of circumstance. And I only hope that when they move in with their uncle, things get better. I genuinely hope that once they are adopted by their uncle, that life is better and that they can still maintain a relationship with their half-brother. I just really, really hope that everything all around works out really well for these little girls, to hell with their mother. I swear, there is a punani to crazy ratio. She must have amazing punani because she's friggin' crazy. This Week in the Regency says, okay, so all of this is wild, but I'm stuck on the 14-year-old having sex in a bathroom at a party and then propositioning someone else. Pretty sure Cass, Vivian, whichever name you prefer, had a shit home life and probably was essayed as a child. Yes, she's off the wall, but I feel a bit sorry for her. I doubt she ever got the help that she needed. Which, again, hurt people. It is an unfortunate trend that is genuinely heartbreaking. That victims of these circumstances, unfortunately, they won't always overcome the trauma. And when, in the case of hurting people, they become perpetuators of abuse of some kind. It's why a lot of the time, if somebody was bullied as a kid, unfortunately, they sometimes become bullies as adults. Yes, they have a reason, but a reason is not an excuse. And then we have this 14-year-old who may very well have been assaulted. Well, actually, no, she's 14. She was assaulted, period. That is assault. She is a child. She's 14. She cannot consent. But she learned it from somewhere. Clearly, in that instance, she wasn't a virgin. So that wasn't her first partner. I feel bad for the little girl that became KAS, Vivian, whichever you prefer. I feel bad for the little girl that became. I don't feel bad for this person. I hope that makes sense, because just like I am extremely sympathetic for that history that led to it. But your trauma does not justify you inflicting trauma onto others. That sentence may sound cold, but if you choose to perpetuate that trauma, it's only going to continue with the vicious cycle. You can choose to end the generational curse. You can choose to not inflict trauma onto others. You can choose not to be somebody else's bully because you were bullied. You know what I'm saying? This might actually turn into a soapbox episode, and I'm sorry. Unless that's what you're here for. Alrighty, so Don't 139 says, if I entered a bathroom and a 14-year-old was having sex, I would not just leave. This is statutory assault, at the very least. To which Similar Shame says, the 14-year-old was having sex with another teen below 18. In fact, I think almost everyone there was around 18 or younger, based on the second OP's comments. To which PJs Are Comfy says, just as a point of note, a 14-year-old having sex does not automatically equate to statutory. In the U.S., laws vary by state, and the partner's age is often taken into account. In my state, it would be illegal. In Mississippi, it wouldn't be unless the partner is within 3 years of age. So I think what PJs Are Comfy is referring to are like essentially the Romeo and Juliet laws. So basically, a little bit of a history lesson. This may not be the only reason, but brief history lesson. There would be instances of parents calling the cops on their child's significant other the minute that they turn 18. Because, hey, once you're 18, you are an adult. Personally, I think you're still a kid, but I digress. So in order to mitigate these calls that put these children on lists, when it's just like, oh, my 16-year-old daughter and her 17 just turned 18-year-old boyfriend, I'm going to call the cops because I don't like him and they're having sex. So we're going to ruin this kid's life because my daughter must be virginal and this, that, and the other. Teenagers do. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Yes, teenagers do have sex. I didn't. But I'm not going to fault or shame teenagers for having sex. But that is ultimately why they had the Romeo and Juliet laws, to protect these freshly turned 18 kids from having the cops called on them and being put on a registry because their girlfriend or their boyfriend was 1 or 2 years younger. So, yeah, that is its own tangent. But yes, the Romeo and Juliet laws is essentially what is being referred to here. I actually agree with the Romeo and Juliet laws, but like Don't 139, like in their country, it is illegal unless the other person is also under 15, which is very plausible. We don't know the entire age groups of who was present at this event, but at the same time, it was just like, it's a lot. That is a lot. Altruistic Appeal 25 says, wow, you have convinced me, OP. I'm never using the bathroom at a house party again. I'm sure you would have held it if you had known all the dangers of having to pee too. Joking aside, I'm sorry all of you guys are going through this disaster. I wish I thought KAS could get the help that she needs while she was in jail. But I feel most sorry for those poor kids. And I hope that they keep her locked up long enough for KAS's and OP1's brother to get the kids counseling. Lord only knows what they've been through on top of losing their dad so young. Not so much with the baby boy, since he's lived with OP1's brother and is so young. It's amazing that someone as nuts as KAS is capable of hiding it for long enough to get her hooks in so deep into OP1's brother. Makes you want to keep a sharp eye on people that come into your life around 25 years before you start to let your guard down. Maybe she'll be able to get the help that she needs, but I don't. The American justice system is shite, okay? So we can hope and pray. Says the hippy-dippy pagan that does not genuinely believe that will genuinely help. So, hopes and prayers, because that's really all we got, because like I said, the American justice system is shite. So yeah, that was an interesting story. Whew, on to the next one.
I've been giving you the worst of me. Now you wanna stay the night. Pity how you work hard for me, while forgetting how to talk. Nah, I don't like no humble beats. Just go and suss it up. Now it's time to marinate. And right after we're done, I like it when you're looking like that. I like it when you shit.